What's up, everyone? All right, in today's episode, I'm going to break down my trades from the morning. Today is the biggest green day of the week so far. Maybe that's not saying a lot because this week has been pretty choppy. On Monday, I was down $26,000 on my first trade, recovered $34,000, finishing in the green about $8,000, but it was close. I thought I was definitely going to be locking up a red day. So that was a close call, rough start to the week. Tuesday, I came in and I was like, all right, let's slow down a little bit. We had a stock that pulled away, made about $19,000 on it. Took another trade, was up $17,000. Took another, was back up to $19,000. It was a little choppy. Then we had another stock that popped up and I lost $6,000 on that. Finished the day up around $13,000. That's good, but $20,000 is the daily goal. So I came up shy on Monday and Tuesday. Today, I'm right at that mark, finishing in the green right now at $19,689.57. VIVS was the stock that I traded and did the best on. This was a little tricky because I traded in the small account today, ERNA, and I missed that trade in my big account. So the problem was it was just a quick opportunity, but the issue with ERNA, this stock popped up this morning at about 7:35 or 7:50, and it instantly became the leading gainer, which is great. That's what we like to see. But the price action, I took this trade right in here with a small account, and it was a close call. I didn't go full size, but I got in, I got out, and I was like, okay, that was a little tricky. And when it dips back down, it comes back up right here, and we break through 1062. And I really didn't think that it was going to work. Why? Well, remember, yesterday we had UBXG. UBXG had a very similar pattern: a pop, a pullback, curl back up, rejection, rejection, rejection. It just was not able to break through that level. And so I just sort of felt like ERNA was trading in a similar way. And so I didn't think it was going to break. And then it did break. And I was like, okay, Mel, maybe I should get in here. And I started watching, and it goes up, and then it flushes back down. And I was like, yeah, see, now this is risky. But then it bounces right here off of 1062, right? So previous resistance now becomes support, and it squeezes all the way up to 1250. I missed that as well. It goes a little higher, but then reverses. Now, as it was pushing a little higher, I noticed a bit of a divergence here where we got to a point where the volume peaked and then was declining. So declining volume as the price moves higher is a divergence. I don't really love seeing that. So ended up not taking any trades on that in my big account. It curls back up, rejects. It couldn't get back over the VWAP. And then attention sort of shifted. We had a couple other stocks that were moving. VEEE, this one continued pushing higher from the move from the other day. It's kind of incredible, but it just keeps going higher. Ended up today hitting a high of over $50 a share, but it's back down at 35 right now. No trades on that. It's a little too expensive. And then VIVS hits the scanner, and this one's a little on the cheaper side. So initially I was like, I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. But this thing is kind of incredible. It goes from 70 cents to 350, back now down to $1. So the news was that they received, a $5 million milestone payment from Eli Lilly and projects a 500% increase in 2027 fiscal year revenue. And the stock starts squeezing. Now, when it first popped up, I was looking at the 200 moving average. And I thought, no, the 200's at $1.80. I don't think it's going to break that level. But all of a sudden, it rips up to that level, and this thing squeezed through it in a really big way. So we got this squeeze from $1.60, $1.70, all the way up to a high of $2.90, little pullback here, and a push higher. So this ended up giving some great trades. There was the micro pullback right here, which I didn't take. I waited for it to break $1.80. It breaks $1.80, then adding for the break at $2.50. We get the squeeze up to $2.90, profit. Then it dips down, adding back for the break over $3. And this is where it got a little sloppy because I was looking for that extension and move up to $4. It ends up flushing back down. And so I had a trade where I was in and out here, break even. But in the small account, I ended up losing on that trade. So not ideal. But, that's the way it goes. It started to curl back up, but I didn't think that was going to work because this felt like this really was just a sort of surprise move, a big extension. And I really wasn't sure we were going to be able to get back to those levels because it became thickly traded pretty quickly. So then after the opening bell, NVVE, this one's been squeezing up. Again, sort of higher price with bigger spreads. this is where things can get risky. You know, you can make a mistake on one of these and it can be pretty painful. That's my issue, is that I'll jump in something like this with 5,000 shares or whatever the case is, and instantly I'm down $1 a share, or I'm up $1 a share. Now you could say just trade with smaller size, and you know that's fine, but it's hard to get a good risk to reward ratio, because you're risking $1 a share seemingly on every trade you take because the spreads are so big. And can you make $2 a share? And you might be able to, but I just don't like having to make $2 a share to justify taking the trade. So I end up just generally leaving these alone unless they've got some incredible catalyst that gives me the confidence that they're just going to really keep going higher. But NVVE, it may go higher, but I'm not confident enough to be getting in up here. I just don't know when there's going to be an insider that's going to sell, when the company might do an offering. You know, it's got too far to fall, and so the risk for me just isn't there. So anyways, biggest green day of the week so far, $19,689. I'm grateful for that, and I'll live to trade another day. Now, those of you guys that didn't check out the link to get your own green shirt, in the description, we've got a link. Green shirts are now available. This is my loophole. I figured out that if you can actually wear a green shirt every single day of the week. And all of a sudden, all of my fear about, you know, wearing a color that's maybe not as green as green might be has been alleviated, and it's such a weight off my shoulder, both shoulders, in fact. So this is the green shirt, hand drawn by me, now printed on these shirts. We've got navy, we've got, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can wear a green shirt every day of the week. All right, so check those out. The link is in the description to get your own green shirt. And I will see you guys back at it streaming tomorrow morning. But let me remind you, as always, that trading is risky and my results aren't typical. So please manage your risk, take it slow, and I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning streaming at 7 a.m.